Before we start the episode today, I don't normally do this. I usually do the plugs in the beginning of the intro. I'm doing this because there was actually a use case this past week for Ned products. And I use the CBD. I use the sleep stuff, but I don't use it every day. I don't always do that. Sometimes I do if I really feel like it's going to meet a purpose. But I will say this. Someone I love very much had excruciating shoulder pain from essentially just it's like a thing. This thing, calcified things break up in your shoulder and it's fucking nuts and it causes a lot of pain. And there's really not much you can do about it, truthfully. It's just kind of, you have to let it pass. So I suggested using CBD, and it was one of the few things that actually worked, actually reduced pain and inflammation in a legitimate way. And I saw a lot of different things tried, a lot. So these guys are really doing something pretty special, because when you see it work first person, if you're experiencing pain, it's not a guarantee that it'll work. Nothing is, but I've seen this shit really fucking do wonders now, and I was really impressed. So go to helloned.com, use the code SYNC, SYNC at checkout. You get 15% off whatever it is you want to use. They just launched a new product called Sleep Shut-Eye Chai. Helps you sleep. It's got magnesium. It tastes really good. Check it out. Those guys are really fucking awesome. I'm looking forward to having them on again in the not too distant future. We were going to schedule something. So yeah, go check them out. helloned.com, code SYNC, SYNC at checkout, 15% off whatever it is you order. All right, on to the episode. Bye-bye. Welcome to Synchronicity. Forgive my week-long absence. It was one of those weeks where daddy duty was in full effect. This happens when you have 3 kids. It's inevitable. It's just kind of how things go. You can't fight it. If you fight it, then you're going to just, like anything in life, it's going to perpetuate the situation. So I leaned into full daddy mode. I got to say, I'm a pretty good dad. You could do a lot worse. I would enjoy me as a father. I think that's the barometer you got to use, right? Would you like yourself as a parent? For non-parents out there, this is all just gobbledygook. It doesn't mean anything. But kids, I'm telling you, what a fucking thing those are. It's not normal. It's not a thing that no one can prepare you. It's like a psychedelic. It's like doing acid for the first time or DMT. You can hear all the stories and all this stuff. It's not you can't. It's not really, but you got to do it to see what it's like. Got to perpetuate the population. P's, alliteration. That's how we're going in this one. Okay. So this episode, I'm reporting back from the inner recesses of the collective unconscious. And all I can say is that if you think all the shit we talk about on this podcast and all of the techniques for kind of creating your own reality don't work, it works. It really works. You just got to test it. That's like the overarching message. The second you believe something doesn't work or won't happen, you're giving up on that thing. And you're not really giving it a chance to prosper and proliferate. Now, I don't know what's up with the P's today. So many P's. Jeez. Plosives, as we would call them in the biz. That can feel like a cop-out to some people, because it can be like, well, yeah, how long am I going to wait? 20 years of my whole life, and then it's not going to happen, and I was just going to... come on. You don't. It's actually once you really sense and believe what you are saying or trying to communicate to a deeper aspect of your being, right? We covered that your conscious mind is the thinking mind, right? Your subconscious is akin to what we would think of as the soul, right? Your superconscious is that unified God, I am, unconditional love, whatever you would like to refer to it as. That is what is out. Like, that's what you're tapping into. Now, the goal is this, right? It's to impregnate, want to use that word if it gives us bad vibes, but we're trying to communicate to our subconscious in a nice way with an ideal from the superconscious using your conscious mind, right? Your conscious mind is the worker here who's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a plan. This is how we're going to do it. I will execute this. Got it. Your subconscious is the one you're going on the mission to try to be like, hey, I got to tell you something. It's super important. It's like a diplomacy mission in a lot of ways. And then your superconscious is like got the good advice and has got the gifts and the boons and the things that people would want to see if you were trying to like convince them to do something, not in like a manipulative way. Although it could be a manipulative way, I'm just saying it shouldn't be. It's probably better if it's not. It's got the things that are going to help, right? And there's a lot of ways you can do what I just described, right? We, of course, cover the imaginal acts in this podcast extensively. We've also covered affirmations, music, art, anything that kind of gets you behind the veil, that makes you feel those feels that you know there's something broader and more than whatever your limited perspective in day-to-day life kind of tell you sensorily, if that's where you're at. Music and art obviously have an ability to cut through that pretty prominently and effectively. And then also what we're going to be talking about today is wrapping up what I horribly named Imagination Illumination. Could I have picked a cornier name? No, I don't think it's possible, but that's what we went with. Had to think on something on the fly. The idea is what's important, which was writing down for one lunar cycle. That has now passed now, right? We started on January 3rd, so we did 28 days, January 31st. Yesterday when I'm recording this, today's the first day of February. I like how I say February. Could just say February like a normal person, but it's got the R in there, February. So basically, we did this for 28 days. We wrote down in a journal. When I say we, I say you, I mean you, the people in the Patreon. We did live streams. Hey, we did live streams every week. Even when I missed the podcast, I did the live stream. Patreon is getting the benefit of the consistency. Let's just say that. So we've been journaling. We've been writing things. We've been doing a series of I am statements, plucking things from various kind of like thinkers. Like I have really been getting into Florence Scovel Shinn. She's great. The Game of Life and How to Play It. Your Word is Your Wand. What's the other one? Something of Intuition. She's great. And you can find all her shit on YouTube. It's also on Audible. You can get her books available everywhere on Kindle. They're really good. I highly recommend her. If you kind of wanted, excuse me, not a gentler, but a kind of different way of looking at how to communicate to a deeper aspect of your being, as opposed to Neville Goddard or Joseph Murphy. She's fantastic. She really, really is. And she was she preceded them by like 20 years. Or I guess she was a contemporary, right? I think she was writing this shit in the 20s. So yeah, she was a pioneer. She's great. Florence Scovel Shinn. I've heard it's Scoville. I've heard it's Scovel. I don't know. But she's great. This is what we've been doing. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I will just say, I will report back with my personal experience and say that this shit just objectively works. You can debate the mechanism, the what's happening, why it works. Who cares, right? At the end of the day, it does work. There's no price you pay. The price you pay is what? You replace your sorrow with joy. You replace your lack with abundance. You replace your suffering with ecstasy. Oh yeah, okay, that's the price you're going to pay. Sorry. Bad deal. Bad deal. Fearless faith ultimately is your path, right? Like that ultimately is where you are meant to be. And what that means is like fear is this weird thing that kind of like stymies and frustrates our attempts sometimes to achieve our goals or reach our desires or, do the things that we really want to do or like make our hearts sing, whatever goofball term you want to use to describe it. Fear can come in and be like, hey, nah, not so fast. Aren't you like, this should probably turn you away because what if this happens? What if that happens? When you can get to the point where that's just kind of like a signpost on the way to your destination, you're then approaching fear in the correct way, right? Fear is something that if you can cultivate indifference, and that has a negative connotation typically, like, you're indifferent to the suffering of others. No. You can learn to be indifferent of your own suffering. I trust me, it won't make that suffering longer. It will shorten it. If you can really just be like, nah, I'm not going to buy into this today. That's what I found the journaling and writing something every day was particularly, this was a benefit I didn't think I could elucidate before I actually did it, which is when you're doing this every day, it kind of just, at least, it's like meditation. You're at least setting aside some time for yourself to really communicate to yourself what your goals and ideals are. And we think that's like an easy thing to not lose sight of, but it is. You can very quickly in the goings-ons of the world which are these generated events that we have put out for us. This is like what we are consenting to is ultimately what we're experiencing. When you say no more, there's no more. When you really say that, right? That's it. That's probably what we call death, right? We've decided, no, I would not like to play this anymore. I am officially up. This is why you see a lot of people, if a partner dies who they've been together for a long time, or they've been working a job their whole life and then they retire, a lot of people will pass away after that, right? Like, because that was their thing. That was what they were doing stuff for. And if you remove that, this is not a right or wrong judgment. We're in the realm of the absence of judgment. But if we're doing that, then, and it's gone, you check out. They're not killing themselves per se, but they don't want to be in a situation that doesn't fulfill what their itch was, right? It's not scratching it no more. So all I will say is we'll get into the specifics now. I started doing this January 3rd. Like everyone else. I was like, all right, I'm going to start writing this down. I drew the connection that like when things were really clicking for me, when I was able to just it felt like effortless kind of creation. I was like, what were some of the things I was doing? And I played around with a bunch of theirs. Exercise, did not stick to an exercise regimen, but I found that's not the primary thing. It's a good thing to do. I think if you're taking care of your body, however you're doing that could be simply just writing down that you're healthy, by the way. That shows a motivation and a care for the physical vessel you find yourself kind of inhabiting. So that's a good one, but that wasn't it. It was just doing something every single day, taking the time aside to say, hey, I'm going to talk to my subconscious mind now. I'm really going to try to communicate and get on the same page here, right? I think that is a wise thing to do. So I started writing. Let me put it this way. I nailed crypto last cycle, like from 20 to 21, those 2 years. I just crushed it, right? And I did really well. And I think what I always think whenever crypto, this is the future. This is never going to end. I found I'm going to be set for life doing the exact same thing I've been doing for this past year. Of course, that's not true. I've been through many of these. There are bull cycles, there are bear cycles, and inevitably after a kind of a parabolic upswing, there is like a correction. It goes back down, and rather dramatically in crypto. We're usually talking about like 80 to 90% drops. And I was pretty much on par. Now, I was smart enough that I bought a lot of stuff, and I kind of, through my business, I bought a lot of stuff, and I also just, kind of took care of, things that needed to be taken care of then. Like I put myself in a decent enough spot so when things inevitably fell, even if I wasn't loaded anymore, I still would be able to be like, all right, cool, look at all this stuff and like look at what I kind of set up for, a year or 2 years. And that's what I planned for. I planned for what turned out to be about a year and 3 or 4 months of lean times of being like, all right, now, I theoretically could start getting concerned about how I'm going to pay some of these bills. Got 2 kids in private school, got a new baby, got, whatever you want to name it. Kids, also expensive. You want to learn how quickly your ability to like make money can go up is have some children. You will just magically find that it is actually much easier to get money than you thought it was. It's pretty crazy. That's, I think, why a lot of times people say, like, kids bring luck and they bring, like, money. It's because like, you're going to find it. It's coming from somewhere. Trust when I say that. Anyway, so this is where I was positionally kind of when we started this, going into January. I was getting down to the nitty-gritty in the bank accounts. Now, luckily, I had built up my credit really well during the bull run because I was like putting tons of stuff on credit cards and paying those off, pretty regularly because I could just like pull out money and pay stuff. So that was going great. My credit was good. So I was like, all right, listen. And this is just me. This is obviously not financial advice. I would say on the reckless scale, I'm definitely towards the top of that spectrum. I'm not near the bottom. So don't follow my lead unless you really kind of understand what this is about. So anyway, I was like, shit, I got good credit. I'm pretty sure I can get a personal loan. Now, if you've been paying attention, the interest rates that the federal government, the Fed, the banking arm of the federal government, even though they're technically not a federal agency, they set interest rates. They help dictate what is going to be an interest rate. And then the government does it. So basically, those rates have been going up because during an economic downturn, not a recession, if you want to believe that or whatever you want to believe, the interest rates go up. You pay more to borrow money. So this is the scene and kind of the setting for like before I started writing shit down. So I don't know why I do it for this specific. It's not the only thing I do it for, but it's one that I just feel is very tangible proof for me. I think health would be another really good one if you're going through something physical or you know someone is just focusing on health because it's a very binary thing. Are you healthy or you're not? Like there's clear ways to kind of view and see that. Now, one of the tricks is like you do need to actually believe that you are in a state of health, wealth, wisdom, whatever it is. That's what we're going for. It's just getting on the same page with the deeper aspect of your being, the journaling, the writing down every day, something really does seem to have a dramatic effect. So anyway, that's the scene. So what do I do at the beginning of the year? I'm like, fuck it, I got to take out a loan. Like I have to. I need to be able to pay for things. And I was like, I think crypto is going to go up again. It feels like we're kind of like towards the bottom. It feels like this is an opportunity to like really get something. And mind you, like the end of this story isn't necessarily written like you could be like, well, something could go horribly wrong though. Like, what did you do? Okay, sure. Yeah, that's obviously a possibility. I'm aware of that. I wouldn't do these things if I didn't feel that I was aware of it. But I just want to point out what happened. So I start writing down in the journal. This is 28 days ago or 29 days ago. Start writing down various things. One of those things, two of those things were related to money and effortlessly being able to generate and feel in the flow of money and not being kind of concerned of having a lack. Now, I would say I gave myself probably like a solid B, I will admit, like up until that point of not really engaging with lack mentality and like being like, oh, everything is going bad. What am I going to do? I think I also knew that I had like good enough credit that like this isn't even living off credit cards. I personally, what I have found is that taking out a loan is better than going on credit cards. You will get gouged infinitely if you go on credit card debt. You want to make any progress. A loan, at least like, especially if you can pay it off early, that's the best kind. But even if you can't, like, you know what the number is. That's your number. So like that to me is like a more achievable way of doing it. So like I knew I wasn't totally screwed. And that's also important to remember. A lot of people think they're fucked financially when they haven't even hit the step I just hit, like taking out a loan. That freaks so many people out. There is this idea that debt is bad. Someone fed you that idea, or if this is something you subscribe to, and it's just wrong. It is literally incorrect. First of all, what is debt? Let's not even examine the kind of like metaphysical components of what we're actually talking about there. What, an energy you owe? Like, sure, there's a karmic debt, there's an energetic debt, those things, but like your willingness to like create those things because of something that you're calling financial debt. I don't know. Again, it's a state of consciousness, it's a state of mind. But if you can change your relationship to debt and see it as a tool or a blessing or something for you to work with, I guarantee you'll have a better time with it. So I start writing down in this journal a bunch of other stuff too, things that are important to me in my life, creatively, family-wise, relationship-wise, just all the shit you can think about. I took it as seriously as I wanted to take it in the sense that I was like, all right, I'm doing a weird thing for 28 days, but I'm going to write this shit down. I would say I don't remember exactly when I got my first inkling that something had shifted, but I will say that crypto has been in a pretty obvious and clear bear market meaning things have been going down in price consistently since late November, probably since last May 2021, but definitely since November 2021. And I was trying to wait until at least things started looking like they might go up, but I didn't have that luxury. So I just took out this loan, and I don't know if I said how much I took out, but it's a chunk o' change. And I was, all right, let's do what we got to do here. I started putting a little bit money in, Ethereum and Bitcoin, just kind of scaling in through the majors, getting them back in the system because I had a bigger number in my bank account. Within 2 days, the market started exhibiting signs of strength, right? We were sitting at $16,000 or so, right about there. Since then, it's been not up only on the majors. Bitcoin's only at like 23,000. It's ranging for a week or two, but there has been a renaissance in the altcoin space. Just shit started moving. Things from NFTs to just altcoins to layer ones to layer twos. Just like we're going, if you're in the Discord server, you see this talk all the time. But there is just shit was percolating, and it's like, that seems like pretty good time. Maybe I'll buy a little bit more. Now, I don't want to make it seem like I just went crazy and hit the green button. But over the course of about 3 weeks, right, a month, I scaled in. And as I scaled in, the market, and I don't want to make this seem like it's just about the money here. It's about changing your relationship with where abundance can come from. It doesn't have to, for me, just be from crypto. It could be from anywhere. It's just being open to those possibilities and letting it be as effortless as it needs to be. Anyway, it all started kind of pouring in. This culminated with yesterday, the day before I'm recording this. Like, I had a number monthly that I was like, you're going to effortlessly and easily be making this amount monthly, at least this amount, I said. And yesterday I got it in 1 day. And it's not a teeny amount. It's a monthly amount. It's not a small amount. So I don't want to seem like this is bragging. I know you don't take it like that. What I'm trying to point out is like this shit really does work. I had been depressed, upset, lost, uncertain, feeling not good for, almost a year and a half before I even attempted to kind of like get back in the saddle and start recording this podcast again, which was like September of last year, October of last year. So like it had been like a pretty serious downturn, very little to do with my money going down. It really, the correlation wasn't there. It was wise enough to see that at least, but I hadn't been feeling great. My money situation clearly was, at least on paper and sensorily, not going great. And nevertheless, I started this, and within 2 days there was a shift, and now we're talking about a full lunar cycle later, and like we're in full swing. And like who knows where it could range. There could be a correction. I don't believe that's going to happen. I do think we're kind of back in an uptrend. But even if it's not true and things go back down, I have enough now where I've at least earned the ability to see that this is going to happen. I knew these crypto cycles are cyclical, but like this I know what it looks like when things kind of like at least show life again. And the macroeconomic situation seems to be improving as well. I don't think those things are unrelated. I want to be clear about that. Do I think that I'm pulling and puppeting the strings of like the global system? No. But I think I'm being able to find myself in resonance with a reality that affirms things that likely, in my experience, are true. And, I don't think this is like a bad thing. I don't think this is like a nefarious, like, we're gonna, it's a pretty good thing. So we should be kind of acknowledging its power. I'm really curious if any of you have done this over the past 28 days, how it's gone for you. I obviously am privy to a good amount of people writing in. They know on the website you can ask me to imagine something for you. I think I have a 100% hit rate in terms of replying. And I get messages that filter in sometimes from years ago, sometimes from a week ago, sometimes from a month ago, where people are like, holy shit, it happened. Thank you. Obviously, like all I'm doing is imagining them coming back to me at some point and saying, thank you, it worked. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be this big hullabaloo and like, big deal about, I'm manifesting the wishes of others. I'm such an angelic, but like, no, you don't have to do that. It's ridiculous. One thing you want to do is you have an idea of what paradise, right, looks like for you. Your own personal idea of paradise, a collective sense of paradise. Speaking of not paradise, are we watching The Last of Us? I played the game, by the way. This is on HBO, the new show. I played the game back when it came out, a couple years after it came out, probably, PS4. And I think it was a PS3 original, but I played it on PS4. It's terrifying. I barely could get through the game. It's really scary. It's really creepy. It's really well done. The pathos of the relationship between Joel and Ellie and just like the whole show is amazing. It's like one of the best games. I think it was like a big turning point in terms of storytelling for me. The other being Final Fantasy VII when Aerith dies. Aerith dies. It's no good. That was bad. Super fucked up. Sephiroth, why did you do that? But anyway, the point is that the show is amazing. Watch it. It's really scary. I have trouble watching it. Luckily, the third episode wasn't as scary, but it is. It draws you in and it sucks you in. I'm not a zombie lover. I never watched The Walking Dead. I'm just like not super into the idea of zombies. To me, it's a little bit boring. This is like a good twist on it. It's like couched in the scientific realism realm of possibility. It's just well done. The acting is superb. Watch it. It's great. Anyway, your idea of paradise is hopefully not The Last of Us because that's pretty shitty. It's not a great place that you would want to be hanging out in. It actually seems it will make you grateful for your life. Got anything going on, go watch The Last of Us. At least you're not there. At least you're not your elderly neighbors and fucking running at you on all fours and you got to hit her with a fucking wrench. That's good. You got that going for you. So defend your conception of what that paradise is. It doesn't mean it's under attack. It just means honor it. Probably should have said honor. Honor your conception of paradise, but defend it as well if you need to. Don't let that dream die. That is a realistic possibility for you. Your ability to fully embody that and believe it allows you to this like key to unlock your reality, right? That is the key thing. Also, just beware the influence of doomsayers and naysayers. Right? This is something that like, listen, everyone has their own take on reality. We honor that. We allow that. It wouldn't be this thing if that wasn't, an energy that existed. But just know that if someone says, well, this isn't going to happen. Well, watch out for that. That could happen. All they're doing is sending out a frequency which you can choose to resonate with or not. That's the stuff you kind of want to become a little indifferent to. You've probably seen this if you've been able to detach from any of the ideologies that are kind of sprouting up, which I think is a normal reaction. When you feel reality doesn't make sense anymore, like this is why we see this huge schism and kind of grandstanding about either whether you're the alt-right, hyper-conservative, or super liberal and crazy woke and whatever those things mean. That happens because people are losing, like they don't know how to make sense of the world anymore. So you cling strongly to an identity. And it's okay. Like that's a valid technique. It seems like it does something for some people. But it also just kind of is missing the point that like you choose that. You're the one who decides whether that's a thought or an idea you believe in or resonate with. Don't lose sight of that. So when someone says something, well, it's not going to happen. Well, you better watch out with this. You like my voice? I'm really getting good at the voices, huh? And it's just like, you don't have to listen to that, right? You don't have to be the person who's, oh, yeah, okay, that's a good point. That person's pretty smart. Sure. It's always dark before the dawn, but the dawn never fails. You need to trust in the dawn. I'm pretty sure that's a Florence Scovel Shinnism. I have it written down. I'm pretty sure she said that, if I were to guess. That's really fucking true. And it's a very powerful way. This is very I Ching, very kind of Chinese mysticism ideas of like when one thing meets its extreme, it flips over into its polar opposite, right? If you think of like a scale that could like flip over itself. If you put something on too much on the other side, it would eventually flip over, right? It would flip and you'd have the other thing on that side. So I don't know if that's a great analogy, but basically, you know what I'm saying. Max out something, get the new of the other. Different polarity, different energy. So this is something that's really true. I've found that often difficult, chaotic situations can lead to some of the best outcomes that are possible, even if it's just the alleviation of that difficult situation, but even something usually more powerful. Also, be open to new possibilities, right? Endless possibilities, basically. Be open to as many of them as you can be, because why would you want to limit yourself? And unexpectedness, try to build that in to an aspect of your reality. That people worry, well, if I can create my own reality, then wouldn't it be pretty boring? No, it probably wouldn't, unless you're lame. But even if you are lame and you couldn't come up with something cool, you still would want to be unexpected. Like, whoa, I didn't say that. That's fun. Everyone likes that. So build that in to your shit, right? I'm also sure you can hear the difference in how these things are conveyed or said by me when like you kind of click into really believing this shit with all of your heart. And that's what we're going for. And that is what I found the journaling was just miraculous at doing. I'm going to keep it up, right? We're here in February. I'm definitely going to be journaling. It's pretty dope. By the way, we've been having fun with these AIs on the live streams, making art. I think we're going to do some other cool stuff. This Thursday, we'll do another live stream on the Patreon and maybe do some music production stuff. We covered some crypto things. Like, just as a reminder, you can watch these live, usually most Thursdays. But if you want to watch the recordings of them, if you can't make it, because who can make things these days, they're recorded for patrons and you can sign up. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. Anyway, it's fun times. You can't complain about all that stuff. All right. Instead of worrying, maybe try knowing that everything is great. Can you make that replacement? Can you do that shuffle internally with yourself? You can worry. Don't get me wrong. That's totally something you can do, right? We know that. But could you try to maybe know everything is okay? You want to give that one a shot? Just try it. You don't have to believe it or anything. I mean, it would be good if you did, but just try it. That's probably... it's worth it, I think. You can worry, though. That's no one saying you can't do that. It's totally valid. Life is pretty good. You should probably spread that word. When you're feeling good and you feel you have something, you don't want to be an annoying asshole about it. I get on a podcast. If no one wants to listen to this, at least I can express it out there into the void. That's my way of doing it, right? That's how I do it. I don't run up to my friend, life is good, blah, blah. What a fucking annoying prick that would be. Don't spread it, just spread it by your being. Can you click into a space where you are emanating from kind of like a generous, kind, loving, cool vibe? Can you get into that space? Don't be afraid of holding that back from people or your life. Your life is the way we would say that. We're going to talk about the Dolphins just at the end here. Sorry for people who literally don't give a shit. It's going to be a rough year next year. I don't know. I don't want to say that. I don't want to create that reality. We're rocking with Tua. He's still in the concussion protocol. The Super Bowl will be Chiefs, Eagles. I'm rooting for the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs definitely, the Bengals got hosed in that championship game. But anyway, you won't have to hear about anything Dolphins related until next year, the beginning of the year, late August, early September, whenever they're kicking off. You're done. You're spared. It's so difficult to be a Dolphins fan. Trust me, I've tried believing. That's the one impenetrable fact. Imaginal X work for everything except the NFL. No, they do. It's just, the repetition of being beaten down. I mean, the Dolphins are an allegory for just total, 9 of wands? Yeah, 9 of wands, just getting the shit kicked out of you. That's like the Dolphins card in the tarot. It's just it's rough out here for a Dolphins fan. It's not easy. No one's saying it's easy. Repetition, faith, and expectancy are basically the 3 skills that you're trying to cultivate. You can do repetition. You repeat. Faith is that ability to be loyal to the thing unseen, the loyal to the thing not perceived. loyal to the thing you do not have sensory evidence for. That's all faith is. It's not like some abstract concept like in an RPG. You got to fill your faith up so you can throw the fireball or whatever it was. What was that? Castlevania? Dope game. Super cool. Good music. Castlevania 2. I didn't remember Castlevania 2 music. That shit was dope. I should find that and put that in the episode. It's really good. So yeah, just faith is not this abstract concept. It really is just being loyal to the thing that you don't have evidence for. That's all faith is. And then expectancy, expecting things, right? That juxtaposition between the unexpected and expecting things. You want to expect the good. You want to expect the positive. You want to expect the wonderful, miraculous, blessing-like outcome of things. You want to find unexpected cases of those, right? We get that? I think so. I think you get it. I think we've got it. This is a power-packed episode. There's a lot of good shit in here, if I were to say so. Please write down your stuff. We'll do it again this month. Let's run it back, Jack. Right? Let's run it back. We're going to do the same thing this month in the Patreon. We will be continuing to write things down. Imagine if a month did this. What could a year do? What could 2 years do? What could 10 years of getting on the same page literally with yourself on a daily basis do? I don't know. We're going to find out. So far, it's working for me. So, deal is Patreon. We're doing the live streams. We are having a lot of fun. I feel like they're getting more and more dialed in. There's music, there's talking, there's fun, there's tarot, there's weed. I don't know how much I show the weed on camera. I'm going to call the computer store and get my frontward-facing camera fixed. It works. It visually will display me, but then I have a monitor behind me that is obscured by the view when that screen is open. So for you to see me head on, I can't. I'm not looking. I'm like looking above you. It's very disconcerting. Anyway, that's going to be fixed. Go join that shit show on patreon.com/synchronicity. Big thanks to Ned, as I mentioned, always. These guys rock. These guys are super cool. This is not even a plug for them, but go check them out at helloned.com. Use the code SYNC, SYNC at checkout. Get 15% off whatever you order. This isn't even like a payday. I just remembered it at the end, and they're super nice guys. So I'm saying that. Readings are still open. I got to be honest, those spots, I'm closing the windows for most of them. I just realistically, I don't have the time during the days. At nights, sometimes I want to do them, usually not. So those will open back up when they open back up. But, until then, if you can find spots, those are on the website. Happy to have you when I do have the time. That's it. We're fucking done, mate. We did it. Weird dreams lately too, right? Also, just remember Uranus is in Taurus, right? You got it. That's like big upheaval and changes in the physical systems of life, including money and finances. So we are getting this huge kind of upheaval in our financial systems. And you're not going to long Bitcoin. You're not going to get into the crypto space, the most speculative, transient, changing, weird vortex of hot ball of money you're ever going to find. Really? Cool. I don't know what everyone else is doing. This is what I've been doing. And it's worked. And I feel like I'm getting much better at it. And the proof is kind of in the pudding there. Like, you will get better at things you pay attention to. But be open to those possibilities. That's all I say. Anyway, that's it. Until next week, happy imagining, writing, whatever it is that you do. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.